Buriram, just over 400 kilometres northeast of the bright lights of Bangkok. The Chang International Circuit hosts a 6-tie Grand Prix as 2025 starts now. The wait is over. It's time for racing. It's time for MotoGP. So the Chang International Circuit in northeast Thailand. A rural city, meaning the city of happiness. It's been a happy start to life as a factory Ducati rider for Marc Marquez. He starts the upcoming 13-lap Tissot sprint from pole position. He fired in a 1:28.782 around this 4.55 kilometre, 2.83 miles Buriram circuit. Lots of heartbreaking, and it is scorching hot. It's going to be a brutal test of man and machine in the sprint and the main Grand Prix tomorrow as we go racing for the first time in 2025. 1, 3 and 12 are overtaking hot spots here in Buriram. Turn 12 has always been the scene of some great drama. This is Marc Marquez versus Pecco Bagnaia in the rain-hit Grand Prix here just a few months ago, last October. Will we see a repeat here this afternoon? So the stage is set. The scene is set as the best riders on planet Earth get set to kick off MotoGP's longest ever season. You join us for round one of 22 in 2025. 22 Tissot sprints coming your way, 22 Grand Prix, 814 points up for grabs. We'll find out who'll be collecting the first 12 of those in just under half an hour's time, as Marc Marquez has made a dream start inside the dream team. First time in red, and he fires away from pole position, an all Ducati front row. Marquez brothers 1 and 2 with Alex Marquez second on the grid. The first time those two have started first and second in a Premier Class Grand Prix. Pecco Bagnaia desperate to wrestle back the #1 plate. He's on the front row of the grid on the factory Ducati. He's got it all on though, hasn't he, to topple his teammate in the opening clash of the season. Time to forget all the winter blues as we can finally say, and how good does it feel to say it? MotoGP is back. Faster, forward, fearless, we fire into a glorious new era. Unfortunately, we kick off the new campaign minus the #1, the star performer in 2024. We wish a speedy recovery and a quick rehab to new Aprilia factory rider Jorge Martin, missing unfortunately at least from the opening 2 Grand Prix after suffering nasty and multiple fractures in his left wrist and left hand. A Supermoto training accident sees Martin sidelined for the foreseeable future. His place taken here this weekend by Lorenzo Savadori. The 21 other full-time riders, though, raring to go, pumped and fired up for the season opener here at the Chang International Circuit. This weekend feels like it's been the perfect way to kick off the new campaign. We had a bit of drama, a bit of controversy, penalties and incredible lap times yesterday. Marc Marquez, as we mentioned though, perfect start to life as a factory Ducati rider. All Ducati front row yet again. How many times have we said that over the past few years? But I don't think many people had it on their pre-Buriram bingo cards. Jack Miller, the Australian, qualifying as the top Yamaha. Miller, 4th fastest as Pramac enter a new era as Yamaha's independent team. And what about this? Certainly one of the big headline grabbers of the weekend so far. The rapid rookie Ansem Ayagura on the beautifully liveried Trackhouse Gulf MotoGP Aprilia, starting from 5th place on the grid, top Aprilia. What a performance so far from the reigning Moto2 world champion. So, we're all set to go here in the commentary box. 9 months of adrenaline-fueled drama coming your way. Matt Burton, Lewis Stillerby joining you in comms with Jack Appleyard, desperately trying to keep himself cool down in what is a sauna-like pit lane. Hottest conditions of the weekend so far, no doubt. These are live pictures from Buriram, and as we mentioned, what a start it has been to life in red for Marc Marquez. 128.782 this morning in Q2 saw him secure his 67th Premier Class pole position, takes his career tally of poles up to 95, his first pole position since Aragon. Lewis, it hasn't been plain sailing so far for Marc Marquez. He has made it look that way, though. As we've talked about all weekend, it is no great surprise after he topped the winter test here in Buriram 2 weeks ago, after he was flying to that first pole position of the campaign. We can't overemphasise just how much of a massive favourite he is to take the first 12 points of the season. Yeah, 12 points up for grabs over 13 laps of this Buriram circuit, and you feel like the first of them is going to be all important for the 21 riders looking to stop Marc Marquez from winning this sprint. He goes from pole position. Marc Marquez has not led the MotoGP World Championship since the final round of that record-breaking 2019 season. Could today be the day when that all changes? You feel it will take something heroic from the likes of Marquez, the younger, and of course Pecco Bagnaia, the teammate of Marc Marquez, to stop him winning this one. Well, most of the recent Buriram tests felt like it was Marc versus Alex Marquez. Most of this weekend's Thai Grand Prix certainly has had that flavour as well. 93 pitched against 73, pitched against 63 on the front row of the grid. Already, this is that special feeling that you don't really get any other part of the season. Marc Marquez coming into his 18th World Championship campaign on Thursday, telling all the media, despite all of his vast experience, this is his 268th Grand Prix start. Even a rider who's enjoyed so much success, so much experience, even Marc admitted he got on the plane from Spain to Thailand and there was a few jitters, a few butterflies as he signs a few last-minute autographs. Wherever he goes, he gets mobbed, doesn't he, in the world, Marc Marquez. He's trying to fight his way through the fans here to get himself into the back of the Ducati Lenovo garage. First and second, we'll see Marquez and Bagnaia. Already feels like it's shaping up to be a pretty intense battle at the front between a whole bunch of Ducatis. But Lewis, as we mentioned, there's a couple of names just off that front row who really have, quite rightly, hogged some headlines here on Sprint Saturday in Thailand. Jack Miller and Ai Ogura, absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, it was already exciting at the start of qualifying to know that all 5 manufacturers were strongly represented in Q2, but the 2 standout performances outside of the performances we were expecting from the Marquez brothers in particular on that second row, no question. Jack Miller, who came through Q1 with Pecco Bagnaia, quite literally they were following each other, or certainly Jack was following Pecco through Q1, did the same in qualifying too to lift himself up onto the second row of the grid. But for Ai Ogura to be on the middle of that second row for Trackhouse on board that Aprilia, to put that into context, just what a good job he did. That is the best qualifying from a rookie on debut in MotoGP since Fabio Quartararo was 5th on the grid for the opening round of the 2019 season. For Ai Ogura to be achieving that kind of performance, given what he's up against in this MotoGP class, speaks volumes about the talent and the mindset of the Moto2 World Champion. Yeah, he won the Moto2 World Championship right here in Buriram last October. Golden Eye, of course, was the brilliant hashtag from our social media team. Well, he's been golden as well so far on MotoGP debut here. Pecco Bagnaia, you feel, has it all on. Well, to be fair, everybody on the grid has it all on to try and find a way to beat Marc Marquez. Let's make no bones about this. He has been the standout rider in terms of race pace throughout the test a couple of weeks ago. Certainly this weekend. Alex Marquez, when he spoke to the media here in Thailand last night, said, pretty simple, Marc has pace that's on a different planet right now, a different level. Bagnaia felt like after Friday, he was only about a 10th away in terms of the outright lap time. I think the key to this sprint, Lewis, is going to be somebody's going to have to try and rough Marquez up at the start, try and get ahead of him, break up his rhythm. But we have to mention this young man, Japanese star Ai Ogura, 24 years of age, sporting that beautiful Gulf livery here this weekend. He said yesterday, trying to keep himself cool with a nice bottle of water, it is baking hot here in Buram. He said when they unveiled that nice Gulf livery yesterday morning here in Thailand, he was very, very nervous, not sure what to expect from his first Grand Prix. Well, he has delivered just a sensational performance, as we mentioned. Surely he can't this weekend be the first Japanese rider to podium in what, 12 years. Katsuyuki Nakasuga in Valencia. I'll tell you what though, the odds on Ogura ending that record are being slashed by the minute.
No question about that. Just how laid back did he look there in the box? I'm sure underneath the chest he is nervous, as we see once again the Jack Miller fans. They were offering Jack Miller the pizza swap for a pair of gloves this morning. Clearly that offer hasn't been taken up yet by Jack Miller, who I'm sure is watching this in the Pramac box.
Save us a slice, please. That looks very, very tasty. Yeah, Jack's mouth. Well, Jack's lips are licking, aren't they, there as well? I love those T-shirts. I love MotoGP. Well, don't we all? We have been waiting for Marks II, Marks I, of course, for all the sprinters. Well, there's the Aussie fans. Fair play, they've kept some air in that inflatable kangaroo, haven't they, throughout the weekend. Jack Miller, 4th place. Didn't get as high as that at all in his final KTM season. Best qualifying for Jack since the Valencia Grand Prix in 2023, which he did briefly lead before crashing out. Both Trackhouse Aprilias inside the top 8, as we mentioned, led by Ogura. Raul Fernandez goes from 8th place on the grid. That's 1 slot ahead of factory Aprilia start Marco Bezzecchi, who's 9th on the grid. Fair to say, Bez has had his issues negotiating turn 3 a couple of times so far this weekend. He was on the floor at turn 3 at the end of yesterday afternoon's practice session, and unfortunately expecting something better than that 129.38 when he eventually finished with. Bezzecchi, another faller at turn 3 in Q2 this morning. Finds himself on the back of the 3rd row of the grid. I don't think that's really an indication of his potential though, Lewis, is it? I think all weekend we felt like, maybe not victory pace, but Bezzecchi certainly looking a threat for that top 5.
Certainly, based on what we saw at the test as well, when he was the nearest challenger to the Marquez brothers, who, as they are here, were the 2 riders to beat when we went testing over 2 days a couple of weeks ago. And you imagine from an Aprilia point of view, without their world champion Jorge Martin, if you'd have offered them 3 bikes on the front 3 rows and 1 on the 2nd row in the form of Ai Ogura, they would have certainly taken that. From a KTM point of view, it wasn't quite so smooth earlier on in qualifying. Only 1 KTM rider making his way through to Q2, and that was the rider on screen a moment ago, Pedro Acosta, who did say coming into this qualifying day and coming into this weekend that he felt they'd made a good step in time attack mode. That step wasn't necessarily visible in qualifying earlier on. Well,
we saw the KTM sign there, Orange Blood, who's about to take first blood in 2025 in MotoGP. We're looking at Frankie Morbidelli, but talking about Aprilia, of course, very unfortunate news to be missing the world champion Jorge Martin. Marco Bezzecchi, though, with some pretty promising race potential, you feel, in the sprint upcoming. 9th on the grid. I'm sure we can hear from Massimo Rivola as well about Ai Ogura's stunning performance in 5th. Down to you, Jack.
Yeah, good afternoon to everybody. What a delight it is to be here ahead of the first race of the Grand Prix of the season, and I wanted to grab Massimo first just to understand your emotions right now. 3 riders inside the top 9 places on the grids, but no world champion here, so it's a bit of a yin and yang. How are you feeling ahead of this first race?
I feel that is a good message for Jorge from home to say we wait for you, we are ready, the bike is not bad, so we need you to make the last step. You know, very pleased to see Trackhouse with a rookie being so fast. I know that Marco didn't do the best lap, but we know the potential is there, so can't wait to start the race and the sprint now. Let's see the start. I know the other did some improvement, but I think it's time to fight.
You mentioned Ai there, his performance unbelievable in qualifying, the best rookie performance in qualifying since Fabio Quartararo on debut in 2019. Did he even surprise you?
Well, obviously being a rookie I would say yes, but following all the steps he did from Sepang and also testing here, I have to say that he's riding the bike like he always has been. So it's that kind of match between bike and rider that is very natural. And you see immediately on track is really comfortable with the bike and is super clean. And really pleased to see a rookie, because you know that Aprilia in the past had a sort of name of only Aleix can ride it. Okay, Maverick brought it to a very good level. I think now we are getting to a bike that a rookie can be faster, and that is the best possible demonstration.
Two key concerns last year for Aprilia were, as you mentioned, getting the bike off the line, the start, and also the temperature of the bike. In these testing conditions, both of those areas, do you think you've made improvements?
I think a small improvement is there, but I'm curious to tell you tonight, even more tomorrow night, because this is quite tough, really tough.
Thank you, Massimo. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Jack. Thanks to Massimo Rivola, boss of Aprilia. Yet 13 laps are going to be tough. Imagine what it's like, double the distance in just over 24 hours' time in our opening Grand Prix of the season here in Buriram. So, a bit further down, and Pedro Costa heads row 3 in 7th. Raul Fernandez, as we mentioned, 8th. Marco Bezzecchi 9th. This is Marc Marquez on what's going to be his slowest ever lap of Buriram. Trotters as he goes into fuel-saving economy mode. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Marc Marquez's biggest fan here, getting the help of a fan to keep himself cool in the grandstands. If you're wondering what this is all about, fresh to MotoGP, well, first of all, welcome. You're going to enjoy the roller coaster ride throughout this season, but this is all about making sure that you use as little fuel as possible on the sighting lap before they come to the grid. And we are, what, less than 15 minutes away from a slice of MotoGP history, because the rider you are looking at on screens right now, Idemitsu Honda LCR rider Somkhat Chantra on that 35 machine, is about to become the first Thai rider in Grand Prix history to race in the Premier class. What an honour, what an accolade that is for Somkhat Chantra. And trust us, he is certainly not lacking very vocal support here in front of his home crowd. Although, unfortunately, after an indiscretion bulking Alex Marquez yesterday in practice, he will make his Grand Prix, MotoGP Grand Prix debut tomorrow from the back of the grid. Qualified 21st, but he has a 3-place grid penalty to serve after the incident with Alex Marquez yesterday afternoon.
Just looking out our commentary box window over to the outside of turn 11, that is where the Somkhat Chantra grandstand is. They were up on their feet as Somkhat came around. They've all got the Thai flag displayed with their little placards lifted above their heads. They are making such a racket for Somkhat Chantra, and he hasn't even gone racing yet. If he is anywhere near the points tomorrow, this place will explode. He has done a very solid job. He is in at the deep end in MotoGP, but Somkhat Chantra certainly doing himself proud to this point.
Yeah, you can hear the reception he's getting and the world's best are getting as they come to the grid. As you mentioned before, these are moments that the riders don't get to experience. Everybody connected to the riders, teams, mechanics, assistants, parents, siblings, everybody does not escape the butterflies, the nerves when we come to the grid for the first time since that unforgettable Solidarity Grand Prix in Barcelona last November. And Marc Marquez, what a moment as he comes to the front of the grid. Looking resplendent, looking magnificent in the full Ducati blood red. And he'll be at the front of the grid to make his factory Ducati debut. Saw some comments in the winter testing that the Ducati management was saying he's slotted into this new role like he's been inside that Bologna garage for 10 years. Crucially, his third different crew chief in 3 seasons. He has been able to form an instant rapport with Marco Rigamonti himself, a long-time Ducati servant. What Rigamonti doesn't know about a Ducati GP in Grand Prix, we can write that on the back of a postage stamp. Those two together, Lewis, have already formed a very close and what looks like formidable bond.
And Marco Rigamonti was the crew chief of the winner of the sprint here last year. Let's head down to the second row and get some thoughts from Jack Miller, who joins Jack.
Jack, superb job this morning to put yourself on the front of the second row of the grid. What are the butterflies like ahead of the first race of the year?
I feel good, mate. Done this a few times, but we'll see what we can do. Looking forward to it. Hopefully get this thing away to a decent start and yeah, try and chase these boys for as long as we can. You know, these Ducatis are ripping, so we'll try and stick with them as long as possible and see how the tyres pan out.
What do you think a good result would be for yourself today?
It's hard to say a number. If we can get in the points in this one, we'll be happy. You know, first one of the year, everyone will be swinging for the fences. As long as we come out healthy and ready to go for tomorrow, it'll be good.
All the best, mate.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Jack. And Jack down there on a very, very hot grid. 9 position, top 9 score points, of course. A quick reminder in the TSO sprint as we run through the grid. We mentioned the first 3 rows. Row 4, Fabio Quattro, Juanmi and Gianzarca. That's an all-Japanese machinery affair. Fabio Di Gianantonio, spare a thought for the Italian on his return from injury. His lap time in Q1, a 1:29.237. Had he got through to actually being fast enough for 7th place on the grid. Just shows, doesn't it, how fine the margins are in MotoGP. Further down, Brad Binder 14th, Fermin Aldeguer, the Gresini rookie, 15th, Luca Marini 16th, Miguel Oliveira 17th, Maverick Vinales, his worst qualifying since Mugello 2022 in 18th place, and Enea Bastianini also suffering on that transition to the factory KTM. He goes from 20th, his worst qualifying since the Thai Grand Prix here in 2023. So far, so good, hasn't it been for Marc Marquez? Both factory Ducatis on the front row of the grid. We can't wait for this first TSO sprint of the season. How are the nerves, though, with the boss, Davide Tardozzi, who joins Jack?
Yeah, he's got 2 of the strong favourites for this one, most notably Marc Marquez, who's had pretty much the perfect weekend so far. Davide, how's he feeling ahead of this one?
Lost that connection down onto
the
good,
grid. But we'll see. You know, as usual, the start will be very important, but in the end, also the choice of the front tire. There are somebody that have the soft, somebody with the hard, so we'll see who make the right choice. But anyway, it will suit also the riding style, the choice of the front tire. But anyway, in the end, the first race, I hope that it will be safe for everybody. Then we'll see what's going to happen. I'm sure that the fan will be happy.
Thanks, Davide. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Thanks to Davide Tardozzi. Big smile, big thumbs up and a big reception, as you'd expect for Somkhiat Chantra. When we talk about home crowd heroes, well, he certainly fits the bill on that one. There you can see there's an army, a swathe of 35 flags, 35 caps, 35 T-shirts. They've been doing very brisk business, both here and in downtown Buriram, the Chantra merchandise stalls, as Marc Marquez walks to the factory Ducati for the first time. Cast your minds back to the end of 2023 when he walked out with still a year remaining on his factory Honda contract. He wanted to enjoy that special sweet taste of victory once again. Gave up a factory Honda contract to go and ride at that time for the 4th ranked Ducati team at Gresini, an independent team. He wanted to enjoy racing again, he wanted to win again. Fair to say he did both in 2024 as he finished 3rd in the World Championship. But as he said himself, in a factory team, whether it's a factory Honda, a factory Ducati, a factory Yamaha or whatever, you simply have to perform, you have to deliver. There's no hiding place. You are paid for one thing only, to win races and win the World Championship.
And that is what he looks to begin the road to doing. Of course, at the venue where he won his last World Championship, when he potted the 8-ball in 2019 at the Thai Grand Prix. Is his biggest threat today going to come from within his own family? Alex Marquez starts alongside in second. His Gresini team manager, Michele Messini's with Jack.
Michele, these conditions are brutal. I can feel the soles of my feet burning now we're on the track itself. What is going to be key to victory today for Alex?
The key always the start, the first 3 corner, and I think that just we have to enjoy our pace. I think that we have everything to put together and achieve a great result.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Thanks to Michele Messini, Gresini racing boss. Only Alex Marquez's 6th front row start in his 90th Premier Class appearance, so he's not exactly what you call a frequent front row starter. He's the 28-year-old Spaniard, Moto3 and Moto2 world champion in the past. You do feel how quickly he's gelled with that Ducati GP24 that this could be the season, the breakthrough year for Alex Marquez in terms of winning in MotoGP. There's a nice sight, of course. The last time those two, Ayagura in the background there, is former Moto2 crew chief Norman Rank with the glasses on. The last time those two were together in Thailand, they were cracking open some World Championship winning Prosecco, because it was right here in Buram last October where Ayagura became Japan's first Grand Prix world champion in 15 years. The first Asia Talent Cup product to come through and win a Grand Prix world championship. And he has already signalled his intent to ruffle a few feathers in the Premier class in 2025. He goes from 5th on the grid. Jack's got an update on the Japanese star.
Yeah, I was standing by with Norman Rank over his shoulder, as you say, his former crew chief. The final words in it is here as he walked across to that RSGP from Norman. Go for it, give it your all.
Yeah, they had a great relationship together, didn't they, Norman Rank and Ayagura? Yeah, nothing to lose. It's going to be a great learning experience for Ayagura. What he can learn just by starting where he is. I mean, everybody in front of him has won a MotoGP Grand Prix. Marc Marquez, Alex Marquez and Pecco Bagnaia on that front row of the grid. I've got over 10 Grand Prix World Championships between them. So the knowledge he'll gain, the experience he'll gain just by being in that early battle will be absolutely golden for Ai.
And the positive that Ayagura fans will be thinking about and getting excited about as well is that in his career up to now, Ayagura's speciality was not qualifying. He tended to do better over race distance. This is a new experience for him, though. Not just, of course, MotoGP competition, but a sprint. He's not done one of these before, so every one of these 13 laps, assuming he sees the checkered flag, will be a huge learning experience for Ayagura. But we already know within 2 days of seeing him in official MotoGP competition is he is not overawed by racing at this level.
We are about to power into our third season of Tissot sprint action. In the previous two campaigns, rather surprisingly, 32-year-old Spaniard Marc Marquez has only won one sprint in the past. That was on that memorable Motorland Aragon weekend last year, where he basically ran riot from FP1 and was on pole position, won the sprint, and then the main Grand Prix, his first win in 1,043 days, a win that even himself he must have doubted was coming. Here we go then, your first front row start of 2025, and what a star-studded front row it is. Pecco Bagnaia goes from 3rd place on the factory Ducati. Behind the two Marquez brothers, Alex Marquez starts in 2nd place, but on pole position, chasing a fairy tale factory Ducati debut.